was 8 days ago, and it's for 15 days. How you use that cough syrup up in 8 days? Tell me. Well, see, the thing about it, if you're not handling your medicine properly, it's not our responsibility. See, if you take it someplace else and drop it, yeah, well, that has only been 8 days of 4 ounces of cough syrup, and that's really too soon. You got it on the 3rd, and it was. Well, CVS, maybe they don't operate like we. We're trying to be ethical. We're trying to look after the patient. We just don't give the patient anything they want. We try to counsel with the patient if they're overusing something, okay? If you want to go to CVS and let them break all the rules, go ahead. I'm listening. I'm not listening because you're trying to make me do something I don't want to do. Okay. All right. Don't tell me what some other pharmacy to do. Then why is she in there making them do it? I can do it at CVS. Well, go to CVS then. Did I pass the station, train station? Wait a minute.
We're at Rosa Parks.
Oh, it's at 14th, yeah. Rosa Park is 12th. You know, that's 12th Street. That's the old 12th Street. And 14th is, there it is. Mm-hmm. Now this is the old station. I never did know what they had up on all them floors, because you never went up there for any reason. Because the downstairs was the windows, you know, where you buy your ticket windows. They had about half a dozen ticket windows along there, and but that was many, many years ago. Many, many years ago. When did I come to Michigan? Come to think of it, 1928. Yeah, I was 12 years old when I first came here. And to live with this aunt from Virginia. And then, of course, my parents moved from Virginia up to Pennsylvania because my father got a job in a steel mill. They were calling for workers in the steel mill. So my parents and all the other kids, the other 8 kids, moved up to Pennsylvania. But I was in Michigan with my aunt.
And you know one thing, Lena put on the train and sent it to me, and I didn't even know that she was coming. Mama tagged and put her on the train. Sent it to me. And she acted just like something wild. Anywhere you she was in the city, you know. She was in a big city then. She wasn't where she could run all over town, you know. And but you know one thing, it's a good thing to put something in a child's mind when they're little. When Lena used to be telling me what a bad little gal she was, say she won't never be nothing, I can't stand her. And I said, she was a little fella, and she standing there looking just simple, with her hair standing on her head. I said, oh, you're going to be a doctor one of these days, aren't you? And she's going to be a lady doctor. And Betty said she never had another thought in her mind that she was going to be a doctor. Lady doctor. She thought she was going to be a lady doctor. Yeah. And when she went to school, she went for that purpose.
I came to Wayne University. It was not Wayne State. I came to Wayne University to take pre-med. And I finished pre-med in 4 years. 1938, I graduated from pre-med and with a Bachelor of Arts degree, with plans to go to medical school. That was my plan. I was hoping I could get in Wayne's Medical School. But at that time, there was a quota for African Americans at that time. We weren't African Americans then. We were colored people then. But there was a quota of one student per year in Wayne's Medical School. And that year, when I graduated in 1938, Garnet Ice was the one that was selected. Well, between June and September, it's like, what can you do? You can't go to medical school here. You don't have the money to go away. What are you going to do next? Well, I began to think about maybe pharmacy. And so in September, I enrolled in Wayne's Pharmacy School. When I went to the pharmacy school and I talked to Dean Lakey, I went to see the dean and I sat down and I told him I really didn't want pharmacy. I was real honest. But this was my second choice. What else could I do? I couldn't go to medical school. And Dean Lakey said, well, you could work in a hospital. He said, but they're not going to hire you in the white hospitals. You'll have to find some small colored hospital, and I'm sure they won't be able to hire you full-time, maybe part-time between the two. Well, I knew about a couple of them in Detroit. One was Parkside and one was Trinity. So with that in mind, I thought, well, I'll get a job in a hospital because I would like that part of pharmacy. I didn't want a drugstore per se. But fortunately, the very semester that I started in pharmacy school, I found the pharmacy that I loved. But the pharmacy was right here on this corner. It was a professional pharmacy. That's all it was. When you walked in, it was large counters, filling prescriptions all day long, and that's all you did. That's all you did. There was nothing. If you weren't sick, you wouldn't come in there for any other reason. It was geared to pharmacy. It was a practice of pharmacy. Definitely, and I loved it. I started the same semester that I started in school. Actually, the man he didn't need me to work as a student, but I just started in pharmacy school. But at Christmas time, he got the flu. And his wife was down in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, visiting her mother at Christmas. And so as a result, he needed somebody to write his Christmas cards. That's exactly what he hired me for. He called me, and I went in to write his Christmas cards. So he told me to sit in his office, which was in between, he said, and I'll give you a list of the people I want you to send Christmas cards out to, mostly business people or in the community and so forth. So while I'm waiting for him to get me another list, I finished that one. I walked out into the hallway of this apartment building, right outside the pharmacy, right close to where you saw me sitting at this table. There was a closet, a hall closet, full of chemicals. At that time, you made up a whole lot of stuff. You had to mix stuff, all these chemicals, and they were stacked in there. And I went in there and arranged everything, cleaned the shelf, wiped the shelf off, arranged everything in alphabetic order. The pharmacist got so mad with me, he wanted to kill me because everything was where he wanted it to be. You know, but I arranged it in alphabetic order. But the boss saw it, and he loved it so. He said, that's beautiful. You arranged all these chemicals from A, B, and all down the line. And he was really happy about it, and he hired me, and I stayed there 7 years. After I graduated from school, I became really the manager of the place after I graduated.
Walmart started with a medical plan.
What they got going now?
Well, they got something. Well, they got something out there. They claim they beat this Medicaid thing.
Oh yeah, Medicare.
They put a lot of money into it.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh. Well, this whole Medicaid thing has been a real mess, though. This whole Medicaid thing has been a real mess.
Oh,
Something else.
that's why I can't trust that Medicaid.
I know.
Okay, see ya.
All right. Take care.
What you need, Miss Brown?
Okay, I want you to check the vacuums.
I already checked on that. She already called.
She said give
Go ahead and
check.
pull it up.
Okay.
Already called.
And the Clonopin and the Restorol, I think I got one left. I might be able to get because they only give them to me every 10 days.
Clonopin, Restorel, and what's
And Bactrin
Bactrin?
and what else? Oh, also I want you to check my albuterol inhaler, the solution. Well, I don't remember, and Keflex, I don't remember when she said I can get them. She said it's too early.
It's gonna be too early for the
That's
Keflex.
right.
Yeah.
some of them already.
It's too
But
early for that.
I just wanted to know a date. I know it's too early.
So you know what you can get now already?
Bactrin, I know I can get. She said that I can get Bactrin.
That was it, the Bactrin.
That's all? Restorol
I'm
now?
asking. You said she told you before.
She already called today. And she told me that she could go to CVS and get it whenever she wanted to. No, her cough syrup. She said, I pay for it. I can go and get it when I want to. Well, just before I opened the store, I had applied for a job with the county to work for a hospital in Northville. And I took the test and everything, and I passed it. When I went in for the interview, they didn't know what I was going to be like. And so they just told me, we're preferring veterans. We're giving jobs to veterans first. So I didn't get the job. I ended up opening my own store on the 8 Mile Road. And I was talked into that by the doctors in the area. There was 4 black doctors in the area, one a dentist and 3 other physicians who said, look, get your own store. Because for a short while I worked at a chain store, Cunningham Drugstore on 8 Mile Road in Wyoming. And they kept talking to me, well, get your own store. Why don't you open up your own place? Didn't know how I was going to get the money, where I was going to get the money. Like I said, I borrowed money, I sold my car, and I borrowed money from a doctor. He was Dr. Mose. Okay, he was on the corner of Hastings and Farnsworth. But I knew him as a customer of the store. He had been coming in the pharmacy when I was working, and he was always telling me, you're such a good worker, you're so busy, and sort of praising me, you know, Miss Hunt, you're always so busy, you take care of everything. And so I said, well, maybe he feels that way about me. Maybe he'll loan me some money to go into business. So I don't know. I toyed it around and prayed about it, and I said, well, at that time I didn't have a car. I said, well, the bus is going to come to this corner of Forest and Brush. Now, one bus is going to take me to where I live, which is out in Conant Gardens. The other bus would take me to Dr. Mose's office to east, which is about 2 blocks that way. And I said, whichever bus comes first, it would tell me if I should go into business. Sure enough, the bus to go to his office came first. So I took the bus up to his office. And I was in the waiting room, and he thought I was a patient. I said, no, I want to talk to you about something. I sat there in the office. When he got to his customer, he said, "Come on in. What's on your mind?" I said, "Well, I want to open a business, and I need to borrow some money." He said, "Where?" I said, "On 8 Mile Road. I've been looking around out there, and there are a lot of doctors who have encouraged me to open out there." So he said, "How much you need?" I said, $700. And that was like a fortune. Wait, $700 back in 1948 would be like asking for $50,000 now. It really would. Anyway, $700. He said, "Well, I'll think about it." He said, "Come back tomorrow. I'll think about it, and I'll let you know." So, okay, I went back the next day to his office, and I sat there and waited when he finished with his patients. And he said, "Come on in the office." I sat down there. He reached in his drawer and pulled out 700 cash dollars. I said, "Oh, no." I almost fainted. I'm scared. He said, "Here, take it." I said, "You don't want me to sign anything?" "No, you don't have to sign." I said, "You trust me?" "Yeah." I said, "Well, suppose something happens to me, and there's my husband. I trust him too. So go ahead on, take the money." And I took the money, scared to death, took it home and put it under the mattress. That kind of money right there under, I'm hiding it because you don't have that. That was a whole lot of money to me at that time. And do you know it took about 3 years before he even came by to look at the store or to even ask me, "How you doing? And when you think you might be able to pay it back?" Just like that. 3 years. He didn't even come because he was down here in this area and I was out on 8 Mile Road, quite some distance. But he said, "I was riding by here. I thought I'd come by and just see what you're doing." So anyway, I said, "Well, I'll get a hold of the money." I didn't know where I was going to get it, and I told my mother about it because my mother knew I had borrowed the money to begin with. And I asked her, I said, "I don't have the money to get back to Dr. Mosley, but he wants it now." She said, I'll loan you the money." So my mother loaned me the money, and I paid Dr. Mosley back. And he said to me, he said, "You know, at the time you came in at the right time." He said, "Because I was in the middle of a divorce and I needed some place to hide some of the money." This is exactly what he said. Of course, he's long been gone and everything. But I mean, he said, I wanted to hide some of it. And when I asked him for money, he just wanted to put the money somewhere. Because I guess he didn't want to give all the money to his wife. I don't know, but that's what he said. But I benefited from it. And it was a blessing. That's it. I rode the bus quite up before I was able to buy another car. I rode the bus. I'd get on the bus in the mornings. If I had to pick up something in emergency at the wholesaler, which was down on Jefferson Avenue, Frank Kerr Company, I'd ride that bus from 8 Mile Road down to Jefferson Avenue early enough to pick that order up and ride the bus back and have it there for the customer. You know, you do what you have to do. I took care of customers. They liked it. They were happy. We operated a upscale type business. I mean, it was clean, professional. We prided ourselves in having clean white coats, clean floors, clean shelves, everything. The place was nice. In fact, it was so neat. It was so nice and neat that one lady came by there one day and she stuck her head in the door. She said, "Do you work here?" I said, "Yeah." "Is this owned by colored people?" I said, "Yeah." She didn't expect to see something on that level. I don't know what she was expecting, but she was maybe thought I was just working for somebody else who owned the place. And I said, "My goodness, we as African Americans have had a hard time and a struggle trying to have anything." But it took a fight. I was determined it's going to be upscale. I was determined it's going to be top notch, and that's all. I worked on that. I worked on that for myself, for the people we work with, and for our surroundings.
I've been working for Miss Wise for 7 years.
Really working here, doing the job I do now, probably since high school, but officially been working here my whole life, since I was born.
Yes, I had 3 brothers that worked here and 3 sisters that worked here.
The customers are interesting and they're funny. Sometimes they're not so funny, but they're always interesting.
We had one customer that got so mad they did knock the counter over and start banging on the counter. It was crazy.
You know, it's interesting to see the dynamic working with medication, and people come in for the medication and sometimes they need it, sometimes they don't. That's always interesting. It's like a good human study, you know?
I mean, it was kind of funny, but maybe to her it wasn't funny, but we laughed.
My grandmother is a wonderful person. She's very, very strong-willed.
Mrs. Wise is tough on us. She makes sure we do our work. I mean, Mrs. Wise is basically a very dedicated, hard worker, and she wants her employees to be very dedicated and hard working also.
She's an amazing, amazing person. You know, the fact that she went through so much throughout her whole life and has this store to this day, and she'll be 90 years old coming up really soon, in a couple of months. It's just an amazing thing to me, and she still works here every day. She drives a long distance and she works, and you know, her character, I mean, this is proof of her character right here, that she still maintains the store every day and comes in and probably beats me to work most of the time when I have to get here around the same time as her.
I mean, how can one be objective when talking about one's mother? You know, I mean,
Just
that's a very subjective thing. I mean,
I think she's highly principled in business. I could see it in business always. Just very principled, and always had a great deal of respect for the profession of pharmacy.
see, she is part of a family of strong black women, okay? Every single one of them. Her mother, her aunts, her grandmother, you know, they were all strong.
Her sisters.
Strong, independent black women. And so there is, you know, there was an expectation on her part that she could do it. I mean, there was never any question from her standpoint that she could not achieve. In fact, one of her favorite sayings is that a winner never quits and a quitter never wins. And that's essentially, you know, what she's been about. You know, and I think that, you know, I've attended things where people have honored her and talked about what she's accomplished and this sort of thing, and, you know, how she's an example of the American dream. And I would like to point out that, you know, straight up, that what she accomplished was in spite of America, not because of it.
Indeed.
Those were the good old days. People talk about the good old days. I can look back on the good old days. And I'm not the type to look back like some people. Some folks old like I am, they always complain. Well, if I had this, I didn't have this opportunity. And if I had that, I'm not complaining about anything. I have nothing to complain about. If I had it, I had what I needed. I had what I needed. Maybe not what I wanted, but I had what I needed. So I have no complaint. I have no regrets. I don't look back and say, if I hadn't have done this, if I hadn't have done that, I wish I should have done this, I should have done that. No. I think as I went through life, I look back on my life and feel like God had planned my life. This is the way you should go. And I went that way. And right now, I'm not unhappy about the way I went. Really, I'm not unhappy about the way I went. Donna Brown, that's you?
Yes. What
Okay.
about the Albuterol?
I don't know what you mean. Was she for
The nebulizer.
the nebulizer?
Oh, I told him forget it. I'll come back in 2 days, he said. Okay.
He looked at it. I don't know what the
He
result.
said 2 days. He said it's 2 days early. He could probably fill it today, but I told him
Okay.
to go ahead and hold off because I didn't want him to fill it early.
Okay.
Because the machine might not take it or something.
Okay. We'll have you sign
Okay.
right there.
Okay.
It's not that warm now. You need a
Oh,
little
yes,
jacket
it
on.
is. Yes, it is. It's 72.
Yeah, but the air is still a little cool now.
Oh, God, I signed on the wrong one, didn't I?
I don't want you to get sick.
I think I signed on the wrong one. If I did, I'd say the signature still there. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.